Hey, how's it going, people? Thank you for tuning into peer-to-peer mentoring. Today we're going to talk about debt, that real troublemaker for a lot of people's lives. And we can get into debt so easily nowadays. It's just crazy how easy it is to get into debt, whether it be because we like to buy, we like to get loans, or all of the above. And that's kind of why I want to talk about this subject, is because how important it is to people and how important it is to get out of debt. Now I want to start out by talking about there's two different kinds of debt. There's bad debt, and then there's okay debt or good debt. Now the bad debt is anything that, and I learned it from one of my mentors. It's called the triple R, the rot, rust, or depreciate. Oh, sorry, it's RRD. It's RRD. Rust, rot, and depreciate. Those are the worst that you can have. And that includes cars, that includes, clothes, shoes, all this. So yeah, the RRD, rust, or depreciate. You never want to have those kind of debts, but if you're already into those, you already have those, you're already overwhelmed by those, that tends to happen to the best of us. We all have some bad debt that we could work on getting rid of it. And that's why I decided to do this video today. Now, getting into the meat of the subject, you should take out a piece of paper or continue. It'd be a lot easier if you take a little bit of notes if you're serious about getting this done. And this isn't something that I'm experimenting on. This is something that I myself and my wife, my family, are doing right now to get rid of some bad debt that we have, because we're not all perfect. I'm not perfect. Even millionaires, even people with money, have bad debt, and I hate to hear people going like, I can't do this, or I can't take my family on a trip, on a vacation. I can't put my daughter in dance class because I have too much debt right now. And that's some of the stuff that I hate to hear. And that's when I decided, hey, well, I'm gonna start doing something to make sure it works, to make sure I get it from other people who've done it before, and then I can make a subject on it. That way other people can learn it as well, not just me benefit off of it. But yeah, get some notes, because you want to make sure you do this correctly. And one of the things you gotta focus on is to make sure that you budget everything. You budget your whole monthly expenses. This includes rent, this includes utilities, this includes groceries, this includes TV, this includes phone, this includes insurance, car payments, everything. The more you have in there, actually you should have it all, because the more that you have, the more accurate your plan is going to be. And if you leave some of the stuff out, then you could potentially cause errors. And that's why you have to make sure that you include everything, all your expenses, including because a lot of the people think that when you're paying off your debt, when you gotta settle down and get all these nasty debts out of the way, you have to basically go noodle and ramen, right? Just eat that, stop going out, stop having fun, and just pay all your debt. Well, you could definitely do that, but a lot of people, that's what discourages people and then they stop doing it because of that, because they have to compromise so much. And I found a way that it's a lot easier. It takes some time, it takes some patience, but if you keep at it, you keep going through it, you keep adding to it, then you know in no time you're gonna lower that down, and it's gonna get exciting for you, because then you're gonna have more money to play around, you're gonna have more money for important stuff. And just make sure that you do this and you don't fall back into the same habits of getting into just to getting rid of your debt just to get into more debt later. And that's one of the issues that you don't want to get into. You don't want to stop doing something, get rid of something just to get into a deeper hole or something. And that you got to make sure that that doesn't happen. Okay? So once you've put down everything, that all your expenses throughout the month, what you do is you're going to put down how much you make. And if you're single, you're going to put down how much you make. And if you're, if you're married, if you have a girlfriend and they help you out with the bills, you're going to add, both of your guys' income. And then you're obviously going to subtract all your expenses. And hopefully you're going to have some money left over for everything else. Now, how I do it is, how I did it is I get into the important stuff, the stuff that I have to pay every month, no matter what. That's rent, that's utilities, that's groceries, that's all the important stuff, my phone, my internet. Then it comes down to commodities, which is like TV, Netflix, Spotify, all this stuff that you have but you don't actually need. Now, if you're making more money than you're spending in a month, then you're already on the right track. But if for some reason you are not making enough to even pay all the stuff, all your commodities and the essentials every month, then you already recognize that there's a problem. And you have to go, that's when you have to go and do without going out, without, all the Netflix, all the, all the stuff that you don't need to survive. And that's when you go without it for a while until you get reorganized and you start tackling down all the bad, debt you have. And then when you're able to actually afford it. But if you minus out your expenses and with how much you make, and you're still coming out a little bit on top, but you're still wondering why your debt isn't going down, that's when you're already on the right track. And all you have to do next is make sure that you budget and you stay within your guidelines. Now, what I did, I decided to go in a way where I didn't have to change my life drastically. And and my family didn't have to suffer for the debt that we've accumulated. And what I did is, every time I get paid, and I mean every time I get paid, and as I mentioned before with you guys in past previous videos, if you guys haven't seen any of my other videos, then I'll tell you right now that I don't just have one source of income, my 9 to 5. That's not the only way I make money. I make money in other ways as well. And every time I get paid, 10% of what I get paid goes to my debt. So remember that 10% of what I make and my wife makes, so together, every time I get paid, every time I get a check, every time I get a deposit or whatever on my account, 10% of that goes to debt. And you would just, some people go like, well, 10%, I'm barely making it, I don't know if I have enough. But honestly, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to miss 10%. You're not going to miss 10%, and it's going to be cutting your debt in the knees, right away. And it's not, like I said, I'm doing it myself. It's not a theory. I'm doing it myself, and I wish I could show you guys my personal stuff, but I don't think I have to do it, because it's not something so out of this world where people are not gonna understand what they have to do. And it's just like I said, 10%. So you keep on your budgeting. So we also budget now how much we spend, how much we're gonna go out and spend every week. We budget, so we did cut down a little bit on our spending, on going out, on having fun and all this. We did cut down a little bit, but we know that, it's not forever. It's it's not forever. It's once, the problem with having debt is that it eats at you. It just pokes at you in the back of the head until it becomes a huge headache every time. And if you don't do stuff like this, then you're just gonna that's why people get into bankruptcies, chapter sevens, and if you don't know what that is, that's a good thing, I guess. But some people that are getting into those situations and don't know what that is, that's even worse. So you got to be able to stay educated. um, Bankruptcy is just basically saying that there's no way you can pay off your debt and you're too overwhelmed. And if you do that, then it's not like they forgive your debt, but you if you owe $50,000, well, I'm not going to get into that because I don't want people to thinking that chapter sevens are a good thing, because they're not. They really take a toll. And if you do a chapter 7, is like 10 years before you can get a house with your credit, and your credit just smashed. Just all these stuff, that negative stuff that could happen to your credit. And all you had to do was make a plan and execute it and get that bad debt away, in order to prevent all that stuff. But it's that easy. Like I said, we could break it down to 3 simple steps. 1, budget everything that you spend on a monthly basis. Even if you have to get your bank account statements and everything, do that. And then you're going to subtract what you make to your monthly expenses. And like I said, hopefully you come out on top and you're right there. You're already on the right track. And then 10%. And if you're not making more than what you're spending, like I said, get rid of. And if you want it to be even faster, and if you're still coming out on top and you can do without some of these commodities, and go without them for a while, or lower and down or whatever, that's going to help you more. That's going to help you more in the long run, tackling down all this debt. Because remember, it's not what you make, but it's what you keep at the end of the year that really counts. And remember, I can't stress this enough. Make your money work. Make your money work. There's no point in having money saved if you're not going to do anything with it. Now remember, this doesn't mean go out there and spend your money on Jordans, go spend your money on clothes, on jewelry, on cars and all this. No. What I mean is, invest your money. Make your money make more money. Never having just sitting there, because remember, there's depreciation, there's money depreciation every year, happens every year nonstop. And there's no point in you having money in your mattress, because all it's doing is being worth less and less every year. So remember, guys, most important thing, get out of debt. Second thing, invest your money. And remember not to get into those bad habits. There's good debt and there's bad debt. Learn the difference and tackle the bad stuff now. Thank you for tuning in to Peer-to-Peer Mentoring. This is Houston. Good night, guys.